So essentially, that when Chinese companies look outside China, India is, and obviously, you don't make investments, looking at next year in mind. You look at the next 10 years in mind. That they are looking at India as one of the two largest economies after the US, okay, and the fastest growing economy. So even if, let's say, you think of China as the best and brightest in the world, but if you're looking outside China, really India becomes mission critical. And again, if you look at from the US point of view, is that obviously for a lot of companies, China is basically closed. And so therefore, if China is closed, which is the most important market, it is India. And so that's why, in fact, we look at, see Walmart, okay, the single largest investment that Walmart has ever made, 16 billion, right? And so we see that story. But focusing on China, the China-India economic relationship, and of course, economic relationships are about trade and about investment, primarily. Of course, they can also be technology partnerships and so on, but they're primarily about trade and investment. On the economic front, I don't see too many risks. Even if BJP Modi were to not get re-elected, India did fine in terms of economic growth. There was more corruption and so on, etc. But so I don't think in terms of on the economic factors, I don't see serious risks. The real risks that I see are geopolitical. And of course, are the risks of a war between US and China zero? No, they are non-zero. They are low, but they are non-zero. The risks of a war between China and Japan are non-zero. And if those were, the risks of a war between China and India are non-zero on the border issue. If you just look at, the recent few years. And of course, if the US and China were to stumble into a war, or of course, if Japan-China very quickly will become US-Japan-China, it's hard to imagine India not getting sucked into that. Okay, so India would, in a sense, be asked to choose a side, and it would be hard for India at that point to stay neutral. So I think those risks are non-zero. But I see those risks as not really just for India, because those are global events. Can we imagine Europe just staying on the side, part of NATO and Russia? So I think those are so I don't see regional risks so much as I see these kind of global risks.